All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a truly epic story. We're talking cosmic catastrophe, a divine heist, and a theological twist that honestly changes everything. Let's get right into it. So, to set the scene, our story actually starts at the end of a universe. Just try to picture this. Everything you can imagine is first torched by the fire of 1,000 suns, and then whatever's left over gets completely drowned in this massive cosmic flood. What's the result? Just a single, vast, silent ocean that covers literally everything. And right there, in the middle of all that quiet nothingness, is the ultimate power source, the great god Shiva. He's deep in this cosmic sleep. And get this, he's basically cradling the potential for the entire next universe inside him while he's just resting. But here's the thing, Shiva isn't totally alone in this giant void. You've got other divine beings kind of hanging around, just waiting for the green light to start creation all over again. And the most important one for our story? The creator god himself, Brahma. So Brahma, he's ready to roll up his sleeves and get to work. And his main tool, the actual blueprint for making, well, everything, is all wrapped up in the 4 sacred Vedas. So he starts reciting them, kind of like a praise song for the sleeping Shiva. Okay, and this is super important to get. The Vedas here, they aren't just, some old religious books or hymns. Think of them as the literal operating system for reality. I mean, they're the source code, the knowledge base, the cosmic memory, everything you'd need to reboot an entire universe from scratch. So just as Brahma starts his work, the fate of the entire universe is right there in his hands, or maybe more accurately on his lips. Something goes terribly, terribly wrong. And just like that, poof, they're gone. The sacred texts, the literal instructions for rebuilding the universe, just slip away and get swallowed up by that dark cosmic ocean. So now Brahma, the great creator, is staring down the barrel of a universe-ending crisis. And man, this quote from Brahma, it just perfectly captures the stakes, right? You can feel his complete and utter despair. Without the Vedas, he's not just stuck, he's powerless. He can't remember how to do his job, he can't act, he can't create. The creator himself is helpless. So in a total panic, Brahma rushes over to the sleeping Shiva to beg for help. But he mentions something really, really important. There was someone else there, a silent witness who saw the whole thing go down. And he points to this figure who's been quietly just, attending to Shiva's feet for 1,000 ages, a mysterious, dark-skinned goddess. Her name is Narmada. And yeah, she saw everything. So Brahma's panicked pleas finally wake Shiva up. And the first thing he does is turn to this one and only witness and ask the big question, the one that's going to kickstart this whole cosmic recovery mission. Who did this? And this is where Narmada drops the bombshell. The Vedas weren't just lost, they were stolen. The culprits? 2 super powerful demons, Madhu and Kaitaba. And here's the kicker. They were actually created by Shiva himself in a past life, which basically made them invincible. They saw their chance, made themselves as subtle as the wind, and just vanished, taking the universe's source code with them. Okay, so now that we know who did it, Shiva's next move is kind of interesting. You'd think, as the ultimate power, he'd just go handle it himself, right? Nope. Instead, he remembers there's someone else perfect for this job, and he calls them in. He calls on Vishnu, the great preserver. The guy whose whole job is to maintain cosmic order and step in when things go sideways. So yeah, Vishnu is our designated hero for this cosmic heist recovery. And Vishnu, he gets right to it, and his plan is just executed flawlessly. First, he turns into a giant fish, then he starts churning up the entire cosmic ocean to find these guys. He tracks them down to the underworld, where they've stashed the Vedas. He slays them, grabs the goods, and returns the sacred knowledge to Brahma. Mission accomplished, a totally perfect operation. And just like that, crisis averted. The cosmic OS is reinstalled, you could say, and a very, very relieved Brahma can finally get back to doing what he does best, creating the universe. But wait, the story isn't over, not by a long shot. In fact, what happens next is what reveals the real point of this whole myth. It pivots away from all this cosmic drama to explain something fundamental about our world by connecting these very gods to real sacred rivers right here on Earth. So the text lays it all out for us. It says that the three big gods of the Trinity are each mirrored by a great secret river. You've got Brahma, the creator, embodied in the river Sarasvati. Then there's Vishnu, the preserver, who is the Ganga or the Ganges. And finally Shiva, the redeemer. Well, he's embodied by none other than Narmada. Yep, the same goddess who is the key witness to the whole crime.
And the text really makes a point here. It goes out of its way to lift one of these rivers up above the rest. It says that Narmada, the river that comes from Shiva, is the greatest and most auspicious of them all. Basically, a direct highway to salvation for all of us.
All right, let's really unpack this, because this is where we get to the heart of what this whole narrative is actually doing. It's not just some cool story about gods and demons fighting, you know? It's making a very, very specific theological argument.
So if you take a step back and think about it, whose story is this really? Is it Brahma's story, the creator in a crisis? Or is it Vishnu's, the action hero who swoops in to save the day? Well, it turns out the source material itself leaves us a massive clue, right in the footnotes. And this first footnote is just fascinating. It's like a little peek behind the curtain. It tells us that Narmada's role as the crucial sole witness, the one who makes the entire rescue possible, was actually added specifically to this version of the myth. And why? For the express purpose of glorifying her, and by extension, her divine source, Shiva. And here it is, the final, absolutely brilliant twist. The story doesn't try to deny Vishnu's heroic moment. No way, he totally beat the demons and got the Vedas back. But it reframes why he did it. He wasn't just acting on his own. He was following direct orders from Shiva. This is what scholars call a Shivite twist. It's a retelling designed to put Shiva right at the top of the org chart, the ultimate boss calling all the shots.
So what are we left with? A really fascinating question, right? This whole explainer hasn't just been about the creation of a universe, but about the creation of a story. It's this incredible example of how myths evolve, how characters can be added, and events can be reframed, all to elevate certain gods, certain ideas, and even certain sacred places right here on Earth. And it really makes you wonder, what other truths are our most ancient stories hiding in plain sight?